Hey Aries, and welcome to your monthly reading for the month of August 2023. I'm filling that one there. So this is a reading for Aries sun or rising sign. If you are also wanting to get a sense of what's happening with the astrology highlights video for the first half of August is also up. I will link that in this video later on in the video. I'm going to use this deck, which I have never used for Aries. I'm pretty sure I've never used for Aries, so we're going to go with it. So this reading is a little bit more extended than the bi-weeklies that are by the moon. We're going to look at the overall month, beginning, middle, end, challenges, any kind of divinatory advice, guidance, however you want to phrase that, and how we're going to be centering the themes, what they're centered around, what's really coming up for you guys. Also, because the full moon is in Aquarius and tropical astrology is happening on the 1st, when these videos will also be out, the full moon to new moon videos will be up as well. So you can expect a lot of content right here at the beginning of August. So Aries, that just seems to happen with this deck. It's so long for me to shuffle with. So, all right, Aries, what do we have going on for you beginning, middle, and end of the month? So this is an interesting month. I mean, I won't go into the astrology really here. I'm feeling this card here. I won't go into the astrology really here because, like I said, I have the astrological highlights video, which, by the way, if you're wondering if you want to look at any of the ones from the past, they're all time-stamped. If you want to look at specific dates or anything like that, there's a playlist on my channel called Astrological Highlights, and so that's where you can find any of the past videos. So I've only been doing this for a short while, so I'm just kind of experimenting with the format. It will be changing on the horizon, but anyway, so all right. And what do we got going on for Aries in terms of challenges happening this month as well? Okay. Ooh, that's an interesting one. All right. And also any kind of advice coming through for you guys. A lot of swords happening over here in this area, in this region, actually. So, all right. And I think my camera is just slightly off. Let's get that straightened out. All right, Aries. So this month, what is a main theme? What can we center this reading around? Which area of life does this really pertain to? And what we have showing up is the midheaven. So midheaven, for those of you who are familiar a little bit with astrology, or if you aren't, very similar to the 10th house kind of topic. So around our public roles, public reputation, but more so having to do with our career, our purpose, our path, right? So that's what the midheaven has to do with. It says pinnacle because this is actually at the highest point of your chart for when you were born, as far as where the sun was, right? Essentially. So this is the highest point that we're reaching for in our life in terms of how we show up in this world, but especially regarding our purpose, our career, our path, right? So that's what we have showing up. That's how we're going to take this information and filter it back through this here, right? Now, this is a collective reading. So I say this pretty often. If you want something that is specific to you, I mean, I look at other readers who do collective readings, and I just know that some months it's going to hit and some months it won't because it's a collective reading. So just know if this isn't landing this month, it's not your message. If you want to watch your rising sign because you're watching your sun sign, I recommend checking that out. But as always, if you really want to get specific to you and your life and the topics happening with you, then I recommend a one-to-one reading. Whether that's with me or anyone else, description box below has that information. I am accepting bookings for that. So what do we have going on in the beginning of the month? We have the 5 of Cups. Middle, we have the 6 of Coins. And end of the month, we round out with the Page of Swords. So let's start with the beginning here. 5 of Cups. I'm just going to say, this is not a time to cry over spilled milk, to be focused on the regrets, to be focused on what isn't working. This is a time where you need to like kind of turn around and recognize that there are some things that are going for you. Even if it doesn't seem like maybe things are looking or feeling the way that you want, or you're kind of beating yourself up over mistakes or regrets or things just not turning out the way that you had hoped and intended with the amount of energy and time and attention that you've put forth. It's okay. But the message here is to actually turn around and notice, like the thing with the Five of Cups is like there are 3 spilled cups in front of this person, and behind them there are 2 completely full cups that they just are not even seeing. And so like the focus here should be to turn around and see that there are still cups that are full, more than half full in your life. And so what is working is the question. I find it interesting because of, you know, the fact that we happen to be in this space right now where there are a lot of things that are up for review with regard to Venus topics. So like we're in a Venus retrograde. At the beginning of the month, we're still like we'll be going through that the rest of the month, but like that is something that is up right now and is up for review. And Venus isn't just about relationships and you know, like connections and that kind of thing. It also gets connected with our finances and what we consider like luxury. So, you know, we are connecting it back to the midheaven. I do feel like really, I want to say, for those of you who this makes sense in looking at this through the lens of relationship, if that's really what's up for you, then listen to it through that lens, right? This is just meant to help focus the reading, but if what's most up for you is relationship, then listen to that. Okay, so then we come into the middle of the month and we have the 6 of coins, and you know, this is really about that give and take. Are you in a position where you are taking more than your fair share and not really putting in the effort and reciprocating with regard to maybe other people that you work with maybe people who are on your team, with a business partner? And again, like, just listen for how this makes the most sense for you with other people in some sense, right? Or are you someone who is on the opposite side of that, where it's like, there's some kind of imbalance with reciprocity, and things are not really like, the give and take isn't really fair and well balanced, where it seems like you're putting in a lot of time, energy, attention, maybe even finances, because we are talking about the coins, so we are talking about the earth suit being in this position. And it's like, okay, I'm giving all of this energy and I'm not really like, I don't feel like I'm getting met with the same energy back. And so you want to take a look at if you're on either side of that imbalance. And the question here is to examine that, but also to then have the conversations necessary to bring things back into some kind of equilibrium, right? Then we come into the last part of the month and we have the Page of Swords, right? The thing with Page of Swords is I feel like, especially when we're looking at it through this particular lens, I think that there's some more research that needs to be done, like doing your due diligence, especially by this point in the month. We will have Mercury having gone retrograde, which is like another thing that's in review, and it'll be in retrograde with Venus at the same time. And it's like, so there might be like some topics around like commerce, content writing, conversations, things of that nature that need to be looked at in terms of like what's working and what isn't. And maybe that requires doing some research, right? Maybe that requires getting online. I mean, I know a lot of people are integrating a lot of chat GPT and use of like in benefiting their businesses or their projects. So perhaps it has to do with research and researching new tech and figuring out like how to incorporate those things. With regardless of like what it is, this particular card is like doing some research, doing some investigating, getting some space from the situation, like getting a bird's eye view, like zoom out and take a look at, you know, maybe the bigger picture, get to a higher ground so you can have the vantage point to be able to see like the big picture, so that you know how to chunk things down appropriately, you know, especially with like Mars being a Virgo and all the things like, so anyway, that's in the astrological highlights video, you know. So, and I find it interesting actually that there is this like give and take moment in the middle of the month where we have that Venus Cazimi happening on the 13th, and like it's like a moment out of time inside of the Venus retrograde that is like really an auspicious day. And I would say like this could be a really great time for those kinds of negotiations and for creating harmonious like connection and, you know, those types of things. So I find it interesting that that is something that's coming up as one of the topics. So when we take a look at what is coming up with regard to challenge, we have the Seven of Swords, you know, and if there is one of the challenge cards in the deck, this is definitely one of them, the Seven of Swords. You know, this is one of the cards that I think people take the basic meanings of it and they just like run with it. But the Seven of Swords can indicate thievery, deceit, manipulation, you know, hidden information, lies, those kinds of things. You know, does it mean you need to be paranoid that somebody like within your company, on your team, in your business, at work is like out to get you? Not necessarily, you know, I don't want people to look over their shoulders and like do that. Again, this is a collective reading, so I don't know what's actually happening in your life specifically. But I want to give you the information to say like, this might actually have you taking a step back to look at more like reviewing and revisiting who you choose to entrust with your most sensitive information around what you're up to in life. This can look like you being somebody who is, maybe you're in pursuit of a career or a goal and it's your side hustle while you have like the other job that you do for bread and butter. And you know that there are certain people that are close to you where if you were to say something to them, you've known them long enough to know that they might kind of take jabs at it and dig at it, and that might be detrimental. So you might want to evaluate who you're choosing to entrust with your most private or your most sensitive information around these kinds of topics, right? This could also mean you need to just reevaluate, who you're choosing to trust with certain things within your, if it's like, let's say your business, within your business or in your work office environment or anything like that, making sure that you are just reevaluating where you put that trust. Now, that all said, this can also be about the ways in which we deceive ourselves, where we are not being straight up honest with ourselves, right? This is why when planets go retrograde, like Venus going retrograde or Mercury going retrograde, and these are personal planets, right? Like these kinds of things that are happening this month, right? It's important for us to take a moment to really take advantage and utilize the energy to reevaluate and take a pause, like take a beat and take a look at the connections that we have in our life or what we're up to in our life with regard to like, especially like career, whatever it is. Because it's like, if we're going, we never stop to take a breath. It's like, you could be building on like the dream, the vision that you had 3 years ago. And maybe there are certain circumstances or things that have shifted and changed that make that particular way of doing things no longer relevant. And it's important to be able to pivot and shift. And if we're not taking inventory and being really honest with ourselves, then we can really miss the mark, and it's detrimental to us. So that whole like deceitful kind of energy, the lying or whatnot, that can also be internally, where it's like, are you being brutally honest with yourself? Even if you don't tell anyone else, are you being like in your journal or with your own thoughts when you go for a walk or whatever it is, are you being really honest with yourself about what it is you want to pursue and why? Is this still aligned with you? So there are a couple of ways that I would see this, right? Yes, this could be about who you entrust and just reevaluating who you're entrusting with sensitive information or projects, but also looking internally and looking at yourself as well. And then what kind of advice can you get to move through this? And it's interesting because we have another swords card. I really like the Six of Swords. This particular card is really about continuing to move forward, right? So the advice that's coming through is like, it's not that you're leaving people behind. It's that you're allowing them to be where they are and not allowing it to interfere with your journey forward, with your progress, with your movement forward. So if you are building and creating something and you're really trying to plan ahead to move towards like upgrading the next level of your life, of your career, of whatever it is, right? Then it's sometimes, you know, that means that you might be progressing at a pace that's quicker than some of the people who have been in your kind of inner circle or something like that. And it doesn't mean that you need to like cut people off and not be friends and or not be with somebody or whatever it is. It just means that this is not a time to allow that to drag you down, slow you down, and have you stop from going across to like that next adventure, that next land that you need to go to. So don't let that be something that has you stopped from progressing, from upgrading, from continuing to grow, from continuing to explore and expand and move forward, right? So that's the spiritual advice that's really coming through. So I hope that this was helpful. If this was, please consider giving the video a like. It helps me with the algorithm gods. Also subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you're aware of when these videos drop, when they come out. Like I said, the astrological video, highlights video for the first half of August should be up on the screen probably right about now. Also the full to new moon videos, which are semi-bi-weekly, those should be up as well as these come out, or if not, within hours after. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I will see you in the next video. Bye.